Deitha Ewinakan. Welcome to podcast number 108. Well, 'tis Thursday evening, 'tis now 8:15, and I've had a long old day today. I didn't get home from work till, 20 to 8, so I've just had a quick tea, and I thought I'd record this now, and then tomorrow I'll do the last bits of editing, so then I ain't under so much pressure. But I say it's been a manic week again, I must admit. Since I spoke to you last weekend, I did work most of Saturday. We had a burial out at St Minver, and we were some lucky with the weather, because the weather for most of the weekend, it was persistently raining, I tell you. So we was lucky there on Saturday, and Sunday was a day of paperwork as well, really. And my funerals this week, I've had the usual mixture of crematorium, either like a direct funeral where we're there at 8:30 in the morning, where nobody attends, or normal cremations. But it's been a stressful couple of weeks, really. We got a new system now with doctors and death certificates, and I won't go into it in depth, but it's been it should be a lot more straightforward, but there are a few teething problems, put it that way, because now if someone passes away, then any doctor, it doesn't have to be the doctor treating the person, but any doctor that's seen that person can actually sort out the death certificate. Now, up until a few weeks ago, it had to be the last doctor treating sort of thing, or they had to be treating in the last, few weeks sort of thing. But now 'tis any doctor that's treated the person. And what they have to do, they then speak to a medical examiner, and from then on, the medical examiner then rings the family and says, are you happy with the treatment that your loved one have received? And then they then start the ball rolling with the death certificate. Well, it should be straightforward, but I tell you what, it hasn't. We did have one funeral that was quite stressful because the days was going on, and there's still no certificate done, but it did get done in the end. But it was a bit stressful. Before I forget, on a lighter note, when we was at the funeral last week in Eglisale, I did a risky thing. I put me top hat down very close to John Bennett's. Now, you might have heard Margaret mention Margaret Thompson, when she did her podcast. And it was a funeral where there weren't many mourners, so I think John's mother and father, who were the undertakers there in Glen Road, they were the mourners, and John was the undertaker. And I think I will get John Oggs. We've talked about this, and he will, confirm exactly what happened. But I think it was a kind of a case. He put his top hat down by the grave, and just as the bearers lifted, the wind blew it in, and the coffin went down on his father's top hat. So I was taking a bit of a risk putting it close to John when I was in church. Now, I think that's what's happened, but I will get John on here one day to give his side of the story. Now, Tuesday evening, I was down Padstow Church, and we had a service there, and that was to welcome the new vicar for the benefice. And the churches that he will cover is Padstow, Travone, St Merran, St Izzy, and Little Petherick. And, that in their proper name. So, like, Padstow is St Petrock's Church, then you got St Merran Church, St Izzy, but Travone is St Saviour's Church, and Little Petherick is St Petrock Minor. And it was a lovely service, and the new vicar down there is, I've always called him Paul Bainan, because I've known Paul since, I think in the 1990s. I think when he first came into the church, he was at Boscastle as a young curate, most probably back then. So that's when I first met Paul, and we've come in contact with each other over the years, because he hadn't gone out of Cornwall since, so he's always been a vicar in Cornwall. Latterly, he'd been over Lostwithiel. And of course, I always thought he was called Paul Bainan, because his surname is Beynon. But in the service on Tuesday, I found out is pronounced Bynon, Paul Bynon. But he's a lovely chap. I'm sure he'll be popular down here. And like I say, he's been in Cornwall for decades now, but he's still got that Welsh accent. But thanks to Colin Richards, you might have heard I talked about Colin, who sadly passed away a month or two ago now. But whenever I speak to a Welshman now, I'll always think of Colin, because his son-in-law's Welsh. And he said, if you ever find a good Welshman, shoot him before he turns bad. And not that I would do that to you, Paul, but I always think about that saying now every time I see a Welsh person, which I shouldn't do because they're my Celtic cousins. But there was a hang of a good crowd down at Padstow Church, and they did ask me up just to shake his hand during the service and wish him well and welcome him to our local area. And we will be having another one of these services, I think, maybe just after Christmas, because there's murmurings that a new vicar for Eglwysale, St Breoch and St Conan's of Washaway have already been appointed. But I'll keep in touch with you about that. But what happens in these services, I mean, there's clergy everywhere, and they'll all lead in, and then there's a few prayers. I mean, we had the acting Bishop of Truro there, and also the Archdeacon of Cornwall. So it is quite good, really. You've got all the powerful ones there. And then the church wardens will take him to the door of the church, kind of handing over the key. And then they take him to the bell tower and they toll the bell. And every toll is for how many years they are anticipating being there. Now, Paul, I think he pulled the bell 10 times, I think. So perhaps that would tie in with retirement. I don't know. I'm guessing it might do. But I had to laugh because when we went up for Robin Thwaites, his service, the same service, I think Robin, being a youngster, I think he told the bell about 30 times. I lost count, to be honest. But he tolls the bell, and then they come down by the font, and then what happens then is the acting bishop, he'll kind of get a bit of water from the font and sprinkle it over all of it. He goes all around the church sprinkling water. But the service was about an hour long, and 'twas a lovely evening. Saw a lot of friends down there. So Wednesday, we had a funeral down at St Morgan, and that was for dear John Rowland, or JR, as he was known. And I'd been liaising with John's family through our mutual friend Jackie, 6 or 7 weeks ago, I suppose, that I would be going down to do an interview with John, because he was born in St Morgan. I think, 92? And he was born just a few yards up from the Falcon, lived St Morgan all his life. And I did do an interview a few weeks ago with one of his old classmates, Bob Tremaine, which you might have heard. So we was all geared up to go. And then Jackie rung and said, John had been took to hospital. He didn't looking too good. I don't think he'd be able to do an interview. And sadly, John did pass away. His funeral, well, what a fantastic job it was. John had worked for the family firm with diggers, well, most of his life, well known for driving diggers in his area, JCBs. And a good friend, Rundle Weldon, he got 2 of his diggers there in front of the Lich Gate at St Morgan Church and made an archway. And we parked the hearse there by it, and then we all walked through this archway up to church. Now, if you go on our RJ Bray Facebook page, I did put some photos there because it was fantastic, really good. And it was a lovely service for a man that age. The church was full. And Rundle, he did a fantastic eulogy, brilliant eulogy. And then I did have the honour, they did ask me if I would read a poem in memory of John. And I read the poem, My Cornwall. And I thought rather than Cornish dialect directly, I might read that poem at the end. So I'll do that later on. But I say, 'twas a lovely touching service for John, and say 'twas a pity we never got to chat, because he knew everything about St Morgan, really did. We've been out St Mimber today. Weather was handsome. What are us now? We 3rd of October, and it was like a summer's day, and the roads was almost deserted. It was beautiful. The only trouble is, a lot of the tractors, the farmers are doing their work at the minute, and of course they bring a lot of earth, off the fields onto the roads, and of course it's all dry, and then your cars, well, they just get covered in dust. So that's how I was late leaving work tonight. I had to wash the hearse and limo, because we got 2 of our limos going out first thing in the morning on hire to another funeral director, and then we got 2 funerals tomorrow. Right, well, I think we'll go over to Moira now for the last bit. 'Tis a bit shorter this week, because last week 'twas a bit longer, because I didn't want to kind of interrupt. She was in full flow talking about the streets of Padstow and everything. So this bit, our final bit, is a bit shorter, but I'm sure you'll love it. And then I'll speak to you directly, just to round off. I'll read that poem and do perhaps a Cornish word. So over to Moira, here 'tis.
Tregearls was a lovely spot.
Yeah.
But there we are.
So you had the cinema. What else did you do for entertainment then growing up in
Well, they had
Padstow?
not much, at a youth club.
Right.
That was up by the chapel. But then, the church. Yeah, they had, they used to have concerts and that in the church rooms.
Right.
The Sunday school, there was loads of kids in that.
Yeah.
And we'd have a concert every year.
Yeah.
In the church rooms. I remember being in it. We did adverts or something. But, and then, of course, in the war, they didn't have it. No. They used to have a dance in there, I think. Well, I don't think, I know. For the camp, you wouldn't say that word now, would you? Camp.
No, you wouldn't. No.
For the the sailors and the Wrens and that. And of course, another famous person we had, it was after the war, the Marquis of Milford Haven. He was stationed up at St Mirren. He was the Queen's best man.
Well, I never.
That's his cocktail shaker out there.
Yeah.
He'd give it to me father. And he was there. And I remember he had a most beautiful yacht. Well, I thought it was lovely. It was a wooden 1930s yacht in Padstow. I remember he took it down the river one day, brought it in, well up Tregearls Beach, and ran it aground.
Oh.
And you had to wait for it the tide to come in or something. But, I knew him. When the wedding came up, the Queen, that's the Marquis. He was called David. Yeah. He was there up on the old airfield. But then that's all changed. That was all there. All very, very different, isn't it? There we are.
Was the Gill family a big family then? Did you have lots of relatives in Padstow?
Well, my granny Gill was a Gregor.
Right.
And she was one of 6. And there's quite a lot of them around. Yeah. But the Gills were from St Izzy, down by the river. It's on those fields. They owned a farm down on those fields by the Pickwick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
In that area.
Yeah.
And somebody the other day rang me up and they said, somebody bought this house down by the river, and the Gill name goes back on it to the 16th century. I know there's a tie up there with my grandfather and the old town key, but I can't. And apparently he had this farm, but he was so easygoing, mind-boggling. He just didn't bother about it, and somebody got squatters' rights on it.
Oh no!
And when my father had been out in the world, he tried to do something about it, but it had all gone. I know I had a relative that was what's the word? They shove them on ships from Padstow. We had these old swords, sabres. When my mother was wondering very well, she said, get rid of those things, great big things. And I remember I sold them in an antique sale. It's a very old-fashioned word. Yeah. But they were put on ships, pushed on a ship, and they couldn't get off, and they had to not stow away on. Oh, no. Can't remember it. I'll remember it when you go.
Yeah.
And well, my great uncle was Tommy Gregor, who used to lead the Obios out a lot, because my mother's people are up in Sunderland and that, where the trouble is.
Did she have a Geordie accent or no?
Not too bad.
No.
Not too bad at all. Well, I think one should be very proud of your accent.
Yeah.
It's all dying away.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
It is, isn't it?
And one of my big regrets, and if I had another life, I would learn Cornish. Yeah. But at the time of my youth, people were dead against those kind of things. You were considered a crank, and so you didn't do it. Oh. But now, do you speak Cornish?
Little bits. Yeah, yes. Little bits.
It's quite complicated, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But, no, that's the thing I would have really liked to have done. But never mind. Can't go on the past.
No.
And I think now Cornish people are very proud of their county, because we've had so many people come into it, and I think now we're an ethnic minority.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I know for the structure of the place, you've got to keep it going with the money and that. You can't go back to 1920. You know, it's very different days, isn't it? But certainly in my lifetime, there's been a huge, huge change, hasn't there?
Definitely.
Yeah, but there we are.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm trying to think. We've covered a nice bit, really, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably think of something else, but I wish I'd told David that.
Yeah.
But
I'm always come back for more.
I'm very pleased to be able to do it, my dear.
Yeah.
But I always remember going to Wadebridge the first time. I thought, oh, by Jove, this is exciting. And of course, coming home on the train, you stop, the Padstow gang had to stop at Wadebridge. We had to get out one side and go over the bridge, get on the train on this side, I think.
Yeah.
And of course, you get out and go over the Cosy Cafe, where I did.
That's right. Milkshake. Yeah.
Or venture a bit farther, Lang's, crisps.
Yeah.
I missed the times I missed that train. I'm terrible at Constantine because I couldn't get home.
No.
I had to walk home.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember when I went to Wadebridge first, I went into Wills's Cosy Cafe and had poached egg on toast. And it was so exciting going in this restaurant.
It's funny, Margaret Thompson was speaking about cozies in the other podcast the other day.
Oh, Mary Gilbert.
Yeah.
Mary went to school with me from Wadebridge. She was Cosy Wills's niece.
All right.
And, of course, with the train station at Bodmin, the GWR where we got off for the grammar school, but you could go down the street at Bodmin, because they had a Woolworths there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoopee. And buy a plastic lampshade, sixpence to bring over the toilet. And then you'd get the other train, down by the jail.
Oh, yeah.
If you were lucky,
Yeah.
might miss that. But, Woolworths at Bodmin. Oh, yeah, we're going Woolworths. And plastic was so funny when it first come out. It was brittle. The train was fun. Hey, dear me. And I always remember, she was called Jean Sandry, and she got up. It must have been a Wadebridge she got up. She got up in the luggage rack, or the racks were like meshy stuff.
Right.
Not anything synthetic. It was just stringy stuff.
Yeah.
And she was quite big. And I always remember I was sitting below, and in the carriage come Mr. and Mrs. Irons from Trevone. Mrs. Irons was Mrs. Burridge's sister, the jeweller.
Right, I know.
And they were
proper
they were Wesleyans, and she went all the way from Wadebridge to Padstow on the rack. She was frightened to move because they got in. God.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, dear me. And I remember at Wadebridge too, there was the W.H. Smith little shop.
All right.
On the platform. There's a man in there for years with it. On the roadside platform. Yeah, where the bitumen is now.
Yeah.
Just a bit farther down, there was you could get newspapers and that in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to find out about it.
Yeah.
It was like a little hut thing.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Well, I think we'll round it up now for this episode.
Yes.
And then I'll always come back for more in years to come.
Yes, I can get some more
photos.
Some more gear out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for asking me, David.
Oh, it's been lovely. It's been lovely.
Most interesting way, and thank you on behalf of everybody for doing it to recall these special things.
Yeah.
Because it will all go wrong. People don't know.
Exactly.
There's things, buildings that you forget they were there. And it's such a shame.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, dear.
All right, so wonderful. If you want to say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Care no biscuit. Bye-bye.
Proper job. Thank you. Well, thank you, Moira. Proper job. That was brilliant. And I'm sure we will talk again, because the same thing happened with Moira have happened quite a few times. I stop recording, we wind it all up, I turn the machine off, and they'll say, oh, of course, I'll tell you something that happened. And I've been caught out time and time again, and Moira told me some lovely stories after, so I will get her on again in the future. I thought for me Cornish word of the week, I don't know the word for digger, because I thought if we go digger, because like John, JR, he had his JCBs and everything, but I can't find a word for digger. But dig, I do know dig, so I thought that's what we'll go, which is palas. Palas. And that's Cornish for dig. And then, like I said, instead of the dialect this week, I will read the poem, which I did read at John's funeral, and I hope you like it, hope you enjoy it, and 'tis called My Cornwall. This is my Cornwall, where I was born. Flower-strewn edges, fields golden with corn, rough rugged cliffs running down to the sea, no place on earth more beautiful to me. Green wooded valleys, slow flowing streams, small whitewashed cottages of which city folk dream, trees meeting overhead, making tunnels of green, county of saffron cake, pasties and cream, clusters of houses all tidy and neat, quaint little shops selling ice cream and sweets, golden sandy beaches, deep blue of the sea. Visitors pay pounds for what I get for free. This is my Cornwall, and here I shall stay, for nothing on earth will drag me away. So there we go. So with that, I think I'll leave you, and I'll speak to you again next week. I hope you have a good week. Wish you well. Do Guinness. Cur nobis Vicar.